actor, director, pedagogue, recipient of numerous awards and distinctions. His prolific career has already spanned 6 decades, embracing theatre, film, television, and the Warsaw Theatre Academy as rector for 4 terms. Since 2003, he has been the longest-serving artistic director in the 260 years history of the National Theatre in Poland. He is expecting you and invited the literary manager to join. Yes, an essayist, academic scholar, translator, editor, pedagogue, author of 6 books in performance studies and numerous smaller texts. Began his career as a critic, then moved to academia in Warsaw Theatre Academy, where he is a professor in theatre theory. Enjoy the company of my next guest, David.
Tuli ine ja mä katsoin sitä meininkiä. Se oli siinä ja hetkes kiinni. Mieti jos te diiva halu koskema antaudu. Voi kääntää toista poskeen. Sopiva ylimielinen. Tanssi lattialla meni yli miehien. On sekasin näissä askeleissa kun ikinä ollut jalat kiiparketeissa. Liikkeessä on priima kengissäni liima. Taida tietää kuka mun jengissäni liidaa. Eikä tänään se on minä vaan diiva. Ja mun on pakko vaan tsiikaa. Sä tanssit niinku diiva. Mut liikkeessä on vaan priimaa. En pisti muita tsiikaa. Sä olet aivan liikaa. Sä tanssit niinku diiva. Mut liikkeessä on vaan priimaa. En pisti muita tsiikaa. Sä olet aivan liikaa. Oh oui, señorita. Ei kaada margarita. Vaikka en mä sano ääneen, niin myönnä koko jääneen. Yeah, frendi sanoi en mä pilasin chanssit. Sanoi meillä on kohta Figaro hääti, kun sä näet sit. En mä halu tästä pitkä suhdet. Oisin ottanut onnen kun Warren Buffett. Että diivaa sulla halus.
Jeśli gdziekolwiek z tych dyscyplin, o których mówimy, czułem ważność nie tylko wykonawczą, ale również porozumienia z drugim człowiekiem, to jest wyłącznie teatr.
If anywhere I can feel satisfied, not only because of some qualities, of some professional qualities of my performance, but also by achieving some immediate personal contact with other human beings, is precisely in theatre.
Tylko w teatrze, to będzie banalne, co powiem.
It will be trivial what I'm going to say, but there's only in a theatre.
Aktor ma bezpośrednią odpowiedź na to, czy to, co wykonuje, to, co robi, znajduje odbiorcę, znajduje porozumienie. Nie to, co ja wysyłam ze sceny do widowni, jest miarą mojej twórczości, tylko fala zwrotna, to, co wraca z widowni do mnie.
All right, so there's only in the theatre when an actor gets an immediate direct response from the part of the audience, then I can feel not only the impulses I am sending somewhere out, but also the returning wave of impulses from the people being alive.
I to jest rodzaj, myślę, dla aktorów pewnego rodzaju narkotyku.
And for the actors, it may be a kind of narcotics.
Zależność, której podlegamy, polegająca na tym, że miarą nasze przedstawienie, nasz udział w przedstawieniu teatralnym codziennie kończy się wraz z opadnięciem kurtyny śmiercią, ale zmartwychwstajemy nazajutrz po to, żeby jeszcze raz to samo wykonać, ale z innym partnerem, bo publiczność co wieczór jest inna.
Yes, we can say that with the final curtain call every time, every night after the performance as a performance, we die with the curtain call, and we arise again from the dead the next day. And it's a fascinating process of rebirth.
Jest to rodzaj twórczości, który korzysta wyłącznie z czasu teraźniejszego.
This is the kind of creativity that uses only the present time. It's only in the present, right now.
Oczywiście mówię o aktorstwie.
Of course, I'm talking now, I'm speaking now about the acting.
Aktor w teatrze jest podmiotem.
Because in the theater, an actor is a subject.
W filmie już niekoniecznie.
In the film, they are not especially, they are not main persons. In theater, this is the central person of the whole event.
When we think about Grotowski, to what extent does his legacy inform your productions, or even for that matter, your repertoire choices?
I think that one must notice that Grotowski always operated on the field way apart from the world of the drama theatre, of the drama repertory theatre. He made two shows, as I remember. Then he started drifting away further and further from the dramatic theatre, from the repertory theatre, and finally from the theatre as such. So Grotowski's legacy has affected very much the world and of the Polish off-theatre, fringe theatre, however you like to name it. We're operating on different premises, and not especially the world of the dramatic theatre. When we look into the great forefathers of the 20th century, paradoxically, it might be said that Grotowski's great adversary, Tadeusz Kantor, affected the repertory theatre to a higher degree because of his vision, because of his thinking by images. This all was much easier transferable on stage than Grotowski's acting practices, and they were never directed towards enactment of a dramatic role.
Grotowski mógł być tylko artystą, a teatry repertuarowe niestety również są i producentem.
Yes, the honest remark is that Grotowski in the milieu, he could be an artist only, and in the theatre, in the repertory theatre, you must act as a producer too, and these functions are sometimes conflicting.
the literary manager, working together with the artistic director, is a combination that is known across the globe. It's a familiar combination. What we're interested in is the challenges that go with this collaboration between the artistic director and the literary manager. And more precisely, what type of challenges have you faced concerning the theme of uncertainty?
No, the whole work in the theater is one vast field of uncertainty. So what aspect of uncertainty do you mean exactly?
Well, let's talk
it's
about...
It's a high-risk job.
Yes.
At any time.
So let me give you an example. A playwright would maybe present you William Golding's Lord of the Flies. This plot, it would concern a group of boys, British boys, who are stranded on an uninhabited island, and their disastrous attempts to govern themselves. Now, this is all about themes including morality, leadership.
Yes, we know the book, of
yes.
course. We know it very well.
Here we have a subject that could very well adapt well for the stage, but there is some uncertainty. Number one, it's a book. It's not from a playwright. Number two, some of the themes, there is some lurid passages there, and about sex and some profanity, and also statements about minorities and defaming God, women and the disabled. So here we have a lot of uncertainty, but we cannot question the quality of the literature. So what kind of challenge would you be faced with there? How would you work together to see whether this would be appropriate for your house to put an adaptation of Lord of the Flies on your stage?
Actually, the Lord of the Flies has recently opened in Warsaw in some other theaters. But we didn't have any proposal. First, if we deal with literature, with non-dramatic literature, this is the formal thing, I think, and we deal mostly with non-dramatic literature because the properly written drama is, properly, allowed to some, let's say, canonical rules, is no longer very much popular among the directors. So we very often get the proposals of adapting novels, prose of various kinds, movies, movie script, and things like that. So first, what Jan requires as a main decision maker here is always an adaptation. The project that are submitted for our theater must have a form of theatrical scenario, and not just people bring us the novel, what will you do with it? Okay, we say first what you want to do. And that also pertains, I think, to your question about the initial choice of material. We require something that is already designed for our stage, and then we can discuss it. Przepraszam, to wszystko jasne, tak?
Tak, ja dołożę tylko to, że prowadzenie tak dużej sceny, największej sceny w tym kraju, to jest troszeczkę coś takiego, jakby pytać menedżera drużyny piłkarskiej prowincjonalnej drużyny, jakie ma podobieństwa z możliwościami FC Barcelona. Mówię o samym starcie do produkcji. My korzystamy z tego, że możemy wybierać.
Yes, of course. Here, using the football metaphors, Jan is a football fan. We have we have a very specific situation because we are the biggest dramatic stage in the country. We have many applications. We can choose between the applications. So this is the entirely different mood of work than in some smaller theatre. Because our initial requirements for the directors pertaining to the stage of preparations of the projects definitely in our theatre are much higher than on many other stages. And it's without evaluating whether it's good or bad, because it would be simply impossible for us to work so closely on every project submitted than it takes place on a small stage focused on a one event only. And therefore, this high level of pre-preparation that we require from the director coming to us.
I to, cośmy mówili, że w układaniu repertuaru kolejność jest następująca, że czekamy na oferty reżyserów, którzy mają już pewną markę. Czasem otwieramy się dla debiutantów. Że są 3 elementy. Osobowość reżyserska, dramat czy scenariusz, który go interesuje i nasze ewentualne zainteresowanie jego realizacją tego, co nas interesuje jako literatura.
Yes, and there are always 3 elements because it's in a quadro or in a program or a theater that we always try to achieve the possible highest artistic quality. And the overall artistic quality is the main factor that we try to pursue in this stage. So we take into account the 3 main elements. First, it's the personality and the record and the achievements of the director. We are open to young people too, to young promising people, but we are also following the previous way. So the promising director, because generally the theatre in Poland is the theatre of a stage director. This is the specific. Second, there is this source literary or dramatic material. In other words, the kind of challenge this particular person of a director wants to undertake. And then combining these 2, the whole potential of the artistic project that we are presented. And so this is the central composite factor that we take into account. I think that this is the most possibly full answer to your question.
I w tej sytuacji najważniejsze jest, żebyśmy my zbudowali fundamenty rusztowania, na które wpuszczamy twórców i nie kontrolujemy tego, co oni na tych rusztowaniach malują.
Yes, and therefore we as a producers, as the host of the theatre, we create some base, some foundation for the future production, and we no longer control the artists in any way. They are given the credit of using the base we provide, and the base, I mean the material base, but also the acting team and the availability of artists, and they are free to build their own projects on these premises we have accepted. We do not intervene anymore.
Ja tylko mogę jako dyrektor artystyczny sprawdzać, czy oni malują, czy tylko udają, że malują.
Yes, of course. We monitor the genuinity of the work, whether they are really work and whether it's progressing. But the direction in which it's progressing, this is up to the artists.
Okay, let me put it this way. I'm a playwright, hypothetically speaking. I'm a playwright, and I'm somewhere in the world in my little room, scribbling my latest masterpiece. I know, Jan, you're currently playing the title role in King Lear. So just imagine that I believe that this is going to be just as great a piece. And now I've finished. The draft is ready, and I would like to have a production. Now, there's 2 options. I can try to pursue an agent, or I can try to just find an email and send it to any house across the globe. Which of those two options would you prefer a playwright to approach when sending material to you?
In Poland, the advice that I can give to you as a playwright then is do contact a director, a stage director, not a theater institution, but a stage director who would be interested in your work. Because the usual order is, of course, we get proposals of the dramatic text and we present them to the directors that come to us with initiative of working in our theater. But this is not the best way, because usually with the organization, the overall shape of the theater market or theater world in Poland is that directors come with their proposals. It's usually that the director comes to Jan and says, I have a few proposals for your theater. I can direct A, B, C, or D. And then Jan, after consideration, says, okay, but perhaps you would be interested. We are interested in B, D, and E, but perhaps you'll try also M, N, O, P. You know, and then we create some common field of possible projects, and then there is a very intense process of negotiation. But the main partner for these negotiations, and it's not only our theater, it's Poland, the main partner for this negotiation is stage director and not the dramatic author, usually.
Jest ważną rzeczą, że nam jest o tyle łatwiej, że mamy wgląd w teatralne życie poczynając już od studiów, ponieważ również uczymy. Mało tego, mamy przegląd wszystkiego, co się dzieje w kraju i próbujemy korzystać w pewnym sensie, ułatwiając sobie życie, wybierając najlepszych, najciekawszych, niezależnie od tego, jakim językiem teatralnym mówią, bo to jest ważne.
Yes. The important point that Jan added is first that we try to monitor the theatre life in Poland and just pick up and observe the interesting artists, also the emerging interesting artists. What makes it easier for us is that we are both pedagogues at the Theatre Academy, so we can trace many careers from the very beginning. And then we try to be open and approach people who seem interesting to us, no matter what kind of theatre language they speak. With respect to the whole diversity of the possible artistic stances, strategies, and ways. Our theater, our repertory by program is eclectic. Some people accuse us of eclecticism, but we have it written on our banner. We are not a theater of a single style, of a single poetics, of a single generation. We try to pick up, choose, and promote whatever seems valuable, interesting, creative, thrilling, and so on.
I przeciwnicy zarzucają to oczywiście, a ja powiem znowu być może zbyt obrazowo, ale powiem, to jest coś takiego, że korzystamy z wielu języków teatralnych, próbując ułożyć coś w rodzaju Esperanto.
Yes. Yes. Jan, I know is that we try to turn to many theater languages in the hope of creating something like a theatrical Esperanto language. But this is a local metaphor because the Esperanto language was created in Warsaw, so you must remember about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, let's just stick with this eclectic theme because our organization, STOD, is actually an affiliated organization with other organizations under the umbrella TEME. It's the largest union for media and theatre and film practitioners in the country of Finland. And I think I speak on behalf of that organization and other viewers around the world who perhaps are not directors, who perhaps are not playwrights, but for some reason they really want to work with you. So what would be the official procedure for an actor, for a circus performer, for a stage designer, for a lighting designer to come to your stage, to your house and work with you? Who should they approach? Is there an official procedure that you can recommend they follow?
Oh no, the official procedure and the only working procedure, I think, is to send papers to Jan and to send the CV and to send the probe of the work and then to let us think what to do with this.
Myślę, że tutaj sytuacja, w której my jesteśmy, nie jest typowa dla w ogóle życia teatralnego.
Yes, and that's, yes.
Mamy zupełnie inne możliwości, inne instrumenty. W tym teatrze pracuje przynajmniej 20-30 wybitnych aktorów, którzy mają sukces również w telewizji, w kinie i tak dalej. Publiczność przychodzi również oglądać ich, zwiedzać aktorów, jak ja mówię. Bo to ma wpływ również na sposób odbierania przedstawień u nas. To jest teatr, powiedziałbym, który opiera się w dużej mierze na jakości aktorskiej.
Dobra, daj mi to teraz przełożyć, bo to jest ważne. One essential part. We are in a quite specific situation also within the Polish landscape. We must remember, we are the very peculiar theatre. And this is the status, somehow typical, I may add, to the national theatres all over Europe. They are always peculiar institutions with good and bad heritage. Anyway, our theatre is built around the acting team. The very core of our theatre is a permanent acting team that we maintain. This is a team, it's very big, it's about 60 persons, and let's say half of them have a kind of star status. They are outstanding artists, also very popular in film, in TV, in every kind of works. We try to retain this group of outstanding individuals who are the full-time employees of our theatre. We try to glue and to retain this bunch of outstanding individuals as a team and to work with them. And this is also what our audiences expect. To our theatre, most people come to see actors and the acting team and their interactions. Whoever wants to work in this particular theatre, it's mostly the perspective of working with those actors, those people we have here. So for every artist who is welcome, of course, and who wants to approach us, this is the basic premises for applying for this place particular. This is applying for the contact with actors. It's different in other theaters, and I can't say it's an advantage, it's a disadvantage, it's just the specific of this particular place.
Ale największym problemem, bo ciągle mówimy o aktorach, którzy tworzą zespół. Wybitne jednostki tworzą zespół i największym problemem prowadzącego teatr jest utrzymać zespół, pogodzić sprzeczne interesy indywidualności. I tu muszę powiedzieć, że jeżeli ja jako dyrektor mam sobie taką kartę wizytową, to że moja zdolność do pewnych kompromisów w konfliktowych sytuacjach powoduje, że udało się nam już 20 parę lat utrzymać zespół stale pracujący na etatach z tym teatrem, mimo że konkurencja filmu czy seriali telewizyjnych płacących 10 razy lepiej jest olbrzymia.
Yes, Jan here develops further this most essential aspect of we are saying that maintaining this acting team of outstanding individuals, that reconciling their sometimes conflicting personal interests and ways of career to retain this team quality here that he regards it as a main point of his directorial jobs, and the fact that so far he has managed to retain it for 20 plus years, he personally thinks is his most important achievement.
Co, biorąc pod uwagę, że gramy ponad 400 przedstawień rocznie na
And
scenie,
if we take into account that with these people we give the more than 400 shows a year on our free stages,
że w repertuarze jest 27 tytułów,
that we have 27 titles on the bill permanently.
niektóre z nich grane więcej niż 10 lat.
Yes, and some of the shows, because we have this alternating repertory of the plays that come and go, and some of our productions are more than 10 years old.
Bez zmian obsadowych.
With the same casting.
Wygląda na bardzo komfortową sytuację.
So in this rapidly changing world and this volatile situation on the market, it looks like a very comfortable situation, but it is not. It requires very much effort.
Ale również jest możliwe dzięki temu, że od czasu do czasu wpuszczamy na przykład dyplom szkolny, czy do repertuaru Teatru Narodowego, żeby promować młodych aktorów.
Of course, we do hear many variations. Sometimes we receive to our bill, we give our credit to the academy productions for the young actor to facilitate the entrance into the professional stage. So there are many combinations, but the core activity is like this, like we described.
I dodatkowo jeszcze jeden element bardzo ważny, że ja przez ten cały czas jestem również aktorem i proporcje między szefowaniem a koleżeństwem są bardzo trudne do utrzymania i to jest właściwie najtrudniejsze.
Yes, and one perhaps the most difficult aspect in Jan's functioning is that he is still an actor all the time, and then he has also to reconcile his own acting activity with his own activity as the artistic directors, and here there sometimes are only conflicting interests that he has to resolve, and the conflicts he has to resolve.
Jan, Thomas, thank you so much